All right, part 3. So last time I talked a little bit about memory layers. Let's get back into the chat with Frankie and go ahead and order our pizza. So at the beginning of this chat, I had a standard message. Hey, welcome to Frankie's. And then I said, let's get a large pizza order going. Great. Would you like a signature or create your own? So let's just ask some questions. What is a signature pizza? So here our chatbot is looking at its internal context where I've uploaded the entire memory. It's also got working memory, which is the immediate history of this chat. And it has access to my semantic memory, which would be my favorites. Now in this case, I did not load this with any semantic memory about myself. If I had, I could tell the chatbot to reference that and say, hey, our signature pizzas are this. I know from a previous order that you really like pineapple. The Kahuna has pineapple. That might be the right pizza for you. So in that way, we can get really a close, personalized view of this by looking at those self-disclosures in the semantic memory. I did not load anything in here. This is a blank slate chat. And so it says, signature pizzas are pre-designed with delicious toppings like Kahuna or meat sai. Would you like to hear about a specific one? So let's say, what's on the Kahuna? Now you'll notice as I'm doing this that the goal here and the strategy are changing. So my goal just switched from gather order info, I think, or something like get details to upsell. And the response strategy just changed to scaffolding and probing. So there are two things going on. One, there's a set of heuristics in the background, a set of rules that are running that are saying, hey, when you have a certain type of emotion or depth, I want you to use these specific response strategies. And that is injecting it into the prompt to give the LLM more direction on how to reply. Not the information. The information is the same. It has the memory. It knows that the Kahuna has Canadian bacon, pineapple, and cheese. The how to reply is ask a question or provide scaffolding, which is kind of direct info. So you can see that it's providing some detailed information about what's on the pizza, and it's asking me a question on what to pair it with. The goal is upsell. So here I've given this bot a goal pipeline to say, start by getting the order details. Once you have the basic order details, and I've given it a score that it works towards on how many details it needs to capture before it moves to upsell. So now it's trying to finalize the order and upsell me on this breadsticks. So I can say, yeah, that sounds great. Let's get the Kahuna. I don't want any breadsticks. Okay, so the upsell attempt here was unsuccessful. And we're going to move on to the next goal, which is to confirm my order. And we've changed to an affirmation strategy, which should tell me, and it did, that's a great choice. Got it. A large Kahuna pizza is a great choice. No breadsticks. Would you like to add any drinks or dessert? So it's attempting to finalize my order. What's for dessert? Let's see what's on the dessert menu. It says, for dessert, we have brownies and cookies. Each comes sliced into 8 pieces. Would you like to add one? Sure, I'll get some brownies. So we should be able to move on. Got it. Your order is, does this look correct? Would you like to add anything else? So the bot has been instructed not to move on until I have confirmed that the order is correct. And I can change these instructions to be whatever I want, but for demonstration purposes, I wanted that to be the case. So if I confirm that the order is correct, it should move on to the next goal. Let's see. Yep, and the next goal is it's suggesting a coupon for me. So it says, awesome, your order qualifies for one of our BOGO deals. Would you like to add another pizza? What do you think? So I'm sure you can see kind of the utility here of like both reminding me as a customer that there's a coupon, and it's yet another upsell opportunity to increase that average order value with specific instructions that I am providing and controlling. And of course, you can always give the LLM a really long prompt that sort of has all of this in it, like you should always do X, Y, Z. But what this does is it really tightly controls that in a step-by-step fashion so that the bot is not going to move on until you meet that goal. or you can make the goal optional. You can make it less directive, but it gives you kind of that option to do it. And it also gives you really good monitoring. So you can see which goals were met, which ones weren't, and whether or not you need to tweak your prompts in the future. No thanks. Not today. I'm done. And then last step is confirming the delivery details. It's asking me if this is for pickup or delivery. And I'm just going to end it here because this is fake. This isn't actually hooked up to any ordering system, but I'm sure you can imagine that if it were, I could go directly to a checkout screen, have my order pre-populated via an API with tool calls, and then go right into the delivery. So I'm just going to end this here because there's no sense continuing on, but hopefully you can see sort of the power of this. I'm going to talk a little bit more in another video about how this can be used for different scenarios, because this scenario was a really kind of fixed linear scenario with set goals. It's really powerful to think about other scenarios where the strategies are even more important. So things like tutoring or advising, therapy, those kinds of applications where having access to kind of these really adaptive strategies can play a big role. And so I'm going to talk about that more in a future video.